Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. In the first program of this series on the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we talked about the creation of Adam and we highlighted three important points about his creation. Number one, his creation was through an automated process, as all actions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are through automated processes. This was clarified so that people do not expect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be working with his hands like human beings do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just commands kun and things happen. Second point was that the process was evolutionary in nature, as all creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all processes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses are evolutionary in nature. But the most important point which we reminded ourselves was that he was not created on this earth. Adam was created somewhere else on the and in the universe and then brought to earth to live here. Now, what was Allah's plan for Adam and his progeny? And that is the focus of our discussion today. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told angels before creating Adam that he will be appointing Adam as Khalifa, human being, human species as Khalifa on this earth. So what is Khalifa? Khalifa is vicegerent, viceroy, and deputy, or somebody who is given, delegated some authority and responsibility. So to be Khalifa, the person has to have freedom to make decisions and also has to have authoritative power to execute those decisions. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted human species and made them Khalifa. And this is actually the same thing which Allah called a trust or an amana in Surah Al-Ahzab. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّا عَرَضْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْجِبَالِ فأبينا أن يحملنها وأشفقنا منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. That we indeed offer the trust of this freedom of making decisions to the heavens and earth and the mountains, but they refused to bear it and were afraid of it. But the human beings accepted it. Surely man is unjust, ignorant. So this was a trust bestowed upon Adam and his progeny or human beings, which means that people will be held accountable. When you give trust to somebody, when you entrust some authority, delegate authority, there has to be accountability as well. So accountability concept was there as well. And the intent we will be discussing later on about making it a test. Now, angels had a concern and they were curious that why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appoint human beings as Khalifa on this earth? Because they are going to cause fasad, and fasad is injustice, corruption, chaos, disaster, destruction, problems, all which are result of wrong decisions. So how do you know, how did the angels know that human beings are going to create fasad, they are going to make wrong decisions? The matter was simple, because so far, other than jinns, all creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are pre-programmed. So they were operating exactly as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted. So now human beings had not only freedom of making these decisions like jinns, but they also had authority to implement and execute those decisions as Khalifa on earth. So obviously they are going to make mistakes. because to make the right decisions, one needs to have perfect knowledge and perfect wisdom. Then all decisions will be good decisions. And only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has perfect knowledge and perfect wisdom. His creation, to whom some of this authority and their capabilities are being delegated, they won't have perfect knowledge and they won't have perfect wisdom. So many of their decisions are going to be wrong. And those wrong decisions are going to call fasad. They are not going to be aligned with the will and teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is going to create problems and injustices and disequilibrium and all problems in the world. What angels did not know was the rest of Allah's plan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to put human beings on this earth only for temporary period, for trial, to see how people handle their freedom. So there will be people who will be handling their freedom to make good decisions, and there will be people who will be handling this freedom to make wrong decisions. So those who fail and make wrong decisions, they will be, after their death in the hereafter, which will be eternal and permanent, they will be imprisoned and jailed in Jahannam. On the other hand, those who handle their freedom well and they made the right decisions following the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be in Jannah enjoying their freedom and all the bounties and comforts of Jannah forever. That was one thing. The second thing angels did not know was about human ability, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to grant them, of naming various things. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam names. So what do you mean by teaching names? So if you reflect upon it, you'll find that all human knowledge and communication is based on names. Every word we speak is a name. It is a name of something, or it's a name of attitude, it's a name of action. Every word is a name. So by teaching names, what was meant that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave communication capabilities to human beings using words. And using words, they can communicate and become eloquent, and they can express themselves. And this is what the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Ar-Rahman. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Khalaqal insan, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created human beings. وَعَلَّمَهُ الْبِيَانِ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught them eloquence and ability to express themselves. And if we reflect upon it more, we'll find that all our communication is through these names, and it is only because of this communication capability humankind has been able to progress to the level which we see nowadays. Because earlier generations were able to acquire some knowledge and transfer that knowledge to next generations by words, by communicating verbally as well as by writing. So all our progress is because of this communication capability, or the ability to use names. The question is, this is a fact, fine, but what it has to do with the concern angels had? What were the names Adam was taught, and when he presented them to the angels, that answered angels' concern about fasad? There have been different opinions expressed by different scholars on this, but the most relevant and accurate opinion is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught the language to Adam alayhi salam, so he had this communication capability through words, and he taught him Islam. the initial teachings of Islam, and taught him the names of the prophets and the messengers who he'll be sending to remind these Islamic teachings to people. So all this communication will be happening through words. So people, Adam and Islam will be taught Islam. As he lives in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep sending him revelations in words, and he will continue following it. And then later on, to remind people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be sending more prophets and messengers. And this will take care of the ability of human beings to make the right decisions, because now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them guidance himself, that if they follow this guidance as given, they'll be making the right decisions. So that danger of getting into fasad will be minimized. There will be still people who will be committing fasad, but at least there will be others who will be following the deen of Islam and making the right decisions. And there will be some of them, like excellent Muslims, the pious Muslims, and the messengers and the prophets, who will be the most excellent people in the world. So this tells us another thing as well, that angels do not know everything. They are taught only what they need to know, and only what is needed to do their assigned task or job they have. Part of the thing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to angels was that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this human being, endowed him with spirit and ability to communicate and make decisions, at that time all angels should prostrate to Adam, to indicate they have accepted him as Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have accepted his authority, and they are going to cooperate, not discooperate, with executing the decisions of human beings. So all angels did, but there was a segment of Allah's creation which, led by Iblees, all the jinns led by Iblees, they refused to submit to authority given to human beings as Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a small matter. It is a very serious matter that you disobey your creator. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Iblis, why did he disobey? So instead of accepting his mistake, he was rebellious. He tried to justify his disobedience by telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he is superior from the elements he has been created than the earthly elements from which Adam has been created. So he had this superiority complex, and he had arrogance because of that, that why should I submit to this Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is inferior to me. And he was also jealous that Allah has granted humans the Khilafah instead of granting it to jinns. So this arrogance and jealousy made him rebellious and made him disobedient. And because of this attitude, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned him forever. Now, Adam was ready to be sent to earth, but before sending to earth as Khalifa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to give him some training. So he was put in Jannah, and so that he can be trained and tested. And once he has learned the lesson, then he can go to the earth and live there. But where is this Jannah? This Jannah was not on this earth as some books, religious books, and some people claim. This Jannah was somewhere else in the universe. And Quran is very clear that then after the test and training, then Adam was brought down to the earth. So what happened in Jannah? So he was tested only with one prohibition. He had freedom to eat and drink and use whatever was available in Jannah, but he was stopped to approach from one tree only. But Shaitan, who had become a declared enemy of human beings, he misguided them and incited them to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they snared him, Adam and his wife, and they were fooled by him, and they approached the tree, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not happy about it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about this, that Adam and his wife, they lacked firm resolve. In Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, وَلَقَدْ أَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمَ مِنْ قَبْلُ فَنَسِيَ وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ عَزْمًا, that previously we had taken a commitment from Adam that he'll be living by Islam, but he forgot, and we did not find him having resolute determination. The point here to be noticed is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not blame, as some other religious books do, his wife Hawa for this infraction, for this disobedience, because some books claim that it was Hawa who made the wrong decision and she convinced Adam to do the same. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blames both husband and wife together, and he tells that فَأَكَلَا مِنْهَا, both of them ate from it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Holy Quran blames both husband and wife together, not one gender or the other. But as soon as they disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, husband and wife realized their mistake, and they were sorry about it. They repented, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave them. So this leads us to some very important point, that both Iblis and Adam committed the same mistake. He disobeyed, and Adam also disobeyed. But why were the results different? Iblis was condemned forever. Adam was forgiven. So this teaches us very important lesson. The reason Iblis was condemned forever was because he made a deliberate mistake. It was thought out that he is not going to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in prostrating to Adam. He was rebellious in his attitude, and when Allah asked, he tried to defend and justify that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not fair in asking him to prostrate. On the other hand, Adam and Hawa, they were actually deceived, and they slipped and erred. And as soon as they made a mistake, they felt sorry and they repented. So this difference in attitude created the whole different consequence. Because of his rebelliousness and trying to justify his sin, he was condemned forever. But because the mistake was not pre-planned, it just happened out of weakness or emotions, and they felt sorry and repented, they were forgiven. So we should learn from it that when we can expect forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what are the kind of people who will not be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the attitude which earns the forgiveness, and what is the attitude which actually stops Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from forgiving. So now both of them, jinns and human beings, were sent to earth So as each other's enemy, because Shaitan had declared that I am now going to, because I'm condemned for this, that their sake, I'm going to prove myself right, and I'm going to misguide them when they are being tested on earth. But Adam had learned the lesson that he is not going to listen to Shaitan, and he's going to be vigilant not to fall into his traps. The mandate that was given to Adam was that people should live in the temporary life of this world in such a way that they come back to Jannah, that they deserve Jannah. Initially, they were put for a test there, but now they have to earn by doing the right things and proving themselves eligible and deserving for Jannah to come back to Jannah. Number two, they should live by Islam, aligning their lifestyle with balance and justice established by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So establishing justice and excellence which Islam teaches into the world is their duty and their mandate. And the third part is that they are going to use their freedom to excel, doing better than justice. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have pre-programmed human beings, they would have been pre-programmed for average performance, just like everything else is pre-programmed. But the freedom as not only gives us an opportunity to do wrong things, but it also gives opportunity to excel. So those people who misuse the freedom and do the wrong things, they are worse than animals, because animals are pre-programmed. They can only do what each other animal does. When we do better than expected, we excel in our obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We excel in the service of humanity. We excel in our character and behavior. Then we are doing better than justice, and we become better than angels. So now Shaitan is there to lead us away and make us fail. And he mentioned actually at that time that he's going to play on our desires and greed, and trying to make us focus on instant gratification instead of ensuring that we look for our long-term benefit. He wants us to remain preoccupied and infatuated by this world instead of thinking about hereafter. So for this purpose, he uses music, fun, games, and a lot of such things, so that we are distracted from focus on the hereafter. Also, he uses peer and societal pressures on us so that we deviate from the right path. And the most important point is that he never comes to us and tell us that, okay, you should do something wrong. He incites us to take a little bit deviant step, one step at a time, little wrong, little toward the side, and step by step, we don't even realize that we have gone away so much from the straight path. So we need to be vigilant about all of these snares of the shaitan. He always comes like a friend. He assures his sincerity as he did to Adam and Hawa. He makes false promises and gives false hope, as he told them that if you eat from this tree, you will become angels and you will live forever and you will not have anything to worry about. And also, he always try to make us try once. He said, okay, you don't have to do it always, just try once. So all these points we should reflect upon, so that we do not make these errors and we do not fall into the traps of shaitan and do the wrong things away from the teachings of Islam. So shaitan's role is to make people losers, and we need to understand that he's our enemy and we should not fall in his traps, and that is our real test. And let's see who wins. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who will be the winners, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us successful in this world and the hereafter. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.